variations and submissions that we've worked. We start off with the triangle first of all, because it's the last sort of thing we've been looking at. So pushing that hand to the chest. When he gets over into this diamond position, okay, this is my first real, defence. Anything before that is don't let him get triangle, which is a great defence. It's a lot easier said than done. Okay, so we might as well have a look at when we're actually in a triangle position or a threat of a triangle and then defend that. Okay, so from this position, I don't want to have my head down towards his groin because that's where it's going to be easier for him to make this triangle tighter. So I'm going to build a little bit more of a frame, and get onto my legs. I always want to be looking up, okay, and there's a big difference. You'll feel like the legs kind of rest just nice and steady on the shoulder, but when I start looking up, the shoulder starts kind of creating a little bit more tension on the back of his legs and his cross. Okay, so the leg that's over the top, I'm just going to come on the inside. This hand I'm going to bring it nice and tight. I'm going to push this elbow down, pull this, and it separates the legs. Okay, so he goes back. It's a triangle. So first things first, posture. Next thing, start looking to break the cross on the back. Okay. So he goes, shoots up, gets that cross, he's in the diamond position, so posture first. I'm always kind of keeping my arms back as well. I don't want to have my arms in this position because this is where he's going to get even better control. So elbows suck in, and then pull and push. It's not an explosive thing, it's more of a progressive kind of pressure against the legs to separate the feet on the back. That makes sense?
Yep.
Give it a go. 1, 2, 3. So just as soon as you feel that, because that good posture is going to eliminate a lot of his first attacks, or it's going to make it harder because he has to break my posture down. So let's look if we can't get our posture. So we can't get our posture for whatever reason. Like Jay's actually, his cross is actually digging into my back. So remember when we were talking about kind of the diamond, squeezing his knees together and then digging his heels into my back? He's doing that at the moment, so this is making it much harder for me to get my posture and start lifting up, okay? Got two options realistically from this position, or two options that I like to show. One is to kind of bring the arm around here, okay? Because this prevents his ability to take this arm across, which means this side is now going into my throat. If I get to here and go underneath, I've bought myself a little bit of time, okay? And it is just a little bit of time, it's not an awful lot. Okay. The other thing that we can try and do, apart from building posture, which should always be our first option, is to come across. Now this seems counterproductive, okay, but there's something very different that's happening with my arm. So if Jay puts the triangle on first, just watch his arm. Okay. From here, I'm going to go still on the inside, take my arm to the opposite side of the hip. Okay, so now it's a lot harder for him to feed that leg across, and the angle as well is much harder to finish. So he's an ear pervert, isn't he? He can check this ear out. You know, this ear I'm not bothered about. This is where the gold is. This is where he wants to see, you know, the sexy ear time. Okay, so I'm preventing that. So now it's going to be much harder. And if again, just watch what happens with his body. See how he's pivoting this way to finish a triangle. Okay, I'm stopping his ability to do that. So grab first, elbow to the side, and then come off the centre line. So I'm no longer kind of facing Jay. Okay, so Jay tries to finish. It's much harder for him to finish this position. So forget this for now, because this is really desperation. This is shit, something's really gone wrong. This is where technically we can do something about it. Okay, so grab the inside thigh, in, and scoop across. Okay, and then we'll look at what we can do with this leg in a second. Make sense?
Yeah.
Give it a go. 1, 2, 3. Right. You know, if we kind of grade the levels of danger, the first bit where we can create posture, you know, that's our kind of low risk danger point. Okay, our next bit where, you know, it's starting to tighten up a little bit and we can't posture up, we can go out to the side, medium risk, because there are things if we mess up and go the wrong way, they could get you back into a triangle and start creating that angle again. And then the next one is where the triangle's locked in. So we're going to lock the triangle in a little bit, but we're not going to start pushing hips in and grabbing head. Because I still want them to be able to move. Yeah, eventually you can put the triangle on and start doing it, but just if they go limp, let go. Okay. With chokes, you know, you go to sleep, you have a weird little dream about being in a bus stop outside. You know, you piss your pants, that means you're cleaning my mat. You shit your pants, that definitely means you're cleaning my mat. Or you die, and then that means you go in the back stairwell and pretend this never happened.
So he's going to put the triangle on a little bit more now. So that's real problems for me. He's just got to switch his hips and pull my head down, and that's going to be a choke. So here, you see I'm turning my hip around as well. Okay, so I'm not keeping my bum here because there are still things that he could do. If he can get drag the arm out, so he pulls this arm out, he can start now going for an arm bar by switching that leg over the top. So I'm defending, keeping that here, and I'm applying shoulder pressure to the leg and coming round. Okay, I'm trying to fight to find some form of space. Okay, but it's just going to stop him from being able to finish the triangle position.
So same thing, but let's just put a little bit more risk in there. Don't choke each other out, okay? It's not fun. Going to the arm bar at the same time. So if for any reason he can't finish a triangle, he may switch to an arm bar. So a good example, he's gone for his triangle in this position. I've got my posture, not quite up high, but enough to kind of keep me out of danger, but Jay's now going to switch to an arm bar instead, okay? So it's similar with the arm bar, he's attacking for the arm bar, but you know, he can't finish the arm bar or create the angle, he may go back to a triangle position. Okay, so like these guys, it's worth kind of learning together. And the thing is, you're learning the opposite. Whereas with the triangle escapes and prevention, we're looking at posture. With arm bars, we're looking at pressure. Okay, so it's kind of the yin and yang of defense in this position. So he's going to go, if you just go back and then, he's going to do his arm bar, which we learned a little while ago. So he's passed the arm across, he's gone into here with his shoulder, he's created the angle, the leg's gone over the back. Okay, so this point is where we're going to start kind of thinking about our arm bar defense. Again, there are things that we can do to prevent this before he goes through. So as he starts going into the arm bar, I'm going to follow his hips. Yeah, I'm going to take his angle away. Okay, so I'm always going to kind of keep myself in line with Jay to make sure that he can't create that angle. That only lasts so long. If someone's really aggressive with the arm bar, your arm is passing across and your posture's not great, there's a good chance that they're going to get it at some point. Okay, so here, cross and through. So the first thing we're going to look at is when they've got this arm isolated and this arm's in this position as well. Okay, so I'm going to come in and I'm going to stack. Okay, what I'm not doing is I'm okay. I'm trying to keep everything controlled because if I pressure in and he just kicks me through, yeah, he's going to break my arm. Yeah, if I drive the wrong way and he follows it, there's things like called swims and stuff like that. He's going to end up putting me on my back, and now I'm in an even worse position to defend the arm bar. So everything that we're doing is slow and controlled. Okay, so imagine, you know, you've got these little stones over a lava river. You don't just fucking run the You're going slow and steady. You're making sure that the stone is going to take your weight. This is exactly the analogy that I need you to be thinking about when you're in an arm bar. Okay, so change the angle. Boom. Shit. Keep his knees, yeah, next to his head. I like to bring this knee up to help a little bit. So if you guys just scoot round this way, don't worry about rushing. See, I've got that knee behind here. Just helps a little bit, yeah, and keeping that pressure down. Okay, so that's the first thing. So Jay's just going to try and drive his heels down to the mat. I'm just going to try and keep in this position. He's not forcing it too hard, he's just giving me a little bit of resistance. Okay, so that's the first position. Okay, into a stacked. Yeah, into a little. So we're just going to go onto the armbar and hope this kind of helps while we get in position again. So at this point, as soon as I start lifting, I'm getting my arm broken. Okay, so you see I'm kind of in line with his hips at the moment. What I want is my shoulder kind of floating across his head so I can pull in and come to the side here. This is going to help a little bit. I need to be over his chest, not over the belly. So if you're over the belly, there's good extension for Jason, so he starts extending and arm gets broke. Okay, so I want to be over here. And again, I'm not relying just on squishing him because that's where he can move my weight. It's just that kind of weight on top. This hand that's in, that's not getting armbarred at the moment, I'm going to try and feed it underneath and then have my palm facing down. So I'm going into that crook of the knee pit to push down. This is going to help us create some space. Okay, so I get my position, this hand comes on the inside, and then I'm going to start trying to split the legs. Okay, because if he's now not got this leg over my head, he doesn't have the control leg. Yeah, whichever leg goes over the head for an arm bar, this is the controlling leg. So if I posture wrong, he's going to stamp his foot down, Yeah, that's what's going to make me go onto the mat and also expose my arm for an arm break. This leg does the same sort of thing, but it's not as effective. Okay, because we usually control people by the head. So start, hand on the inside, split, and then short, sharp movements. Not a big like that. Okay, it's like a little jump. Okay, so to pull this arm through. So 1, 2, 3. Doesn't have to be 3, it can be 17, as long as you just not that. Because what most people do is when they use that one big pull, yeah, they extend, so they go, shit, arm gets broke. Okay, so here, still risky, bring the arm through and then just push the hip. Okay, so the last bit is when Jay's in this position, this hand's going to come on top of the back of the leg and split. To look to get the arm out. Make sense? Give it a go. 1, 2, 3.